and welcome to the Her Business Elevated podcast. My name is Demetria Zinga, and I'm an author, podcast coach, and I'm happy to be your host. I created this podcast to encourage women entrepreneurs of faith on your business journey. So join me and my fabulous guests as we help you to discover how to gain kingdom business clarity and turn your profitable passion into a plan of action. You're listening to episode number 26. And on this particular show today, we're going to learn about why it pays to be flexible as an entrepreneur. So we're talking about flexibility. And I know that that is something that every entrepreneur has exposure to and is experiencing to some degree on some level. You wouldn't be an entrepreneur if you weren't in some ways flexible. So that's what we're talking about today. And I absolutely look forward to sharing this content with you because it's something that I'm experiencing as an entrepreneur on a daily basis. So I'm coming from experience. I know what it means to be flexible and to maintain openness in my business. But first, I want to share with you my affiliate of the week. So I thought that I would start sharing some of the tools and resources that I'm using from time to time. Maybe even on every show. We'll see how that goes. But today, the affiliate that I'm bringing to you is HoneyBook. And I've been using HoneyBook recently to help book my clients more efficiently and to stay organized. So I thought you might like this as well. And what it is, it's a cloud-based software that you can access on any device, including the HoneyBook app on your phone. And it helps entrepreneurs like you and like myself to book your ideal clients more quickly and with less effort. So it lets users manage your projects. You can book clients. You can sign contracts online. You can send invoices. You can accept payments. It's pretty much an all-in-one client booking and payment machine. It's all inclusive from booking your client to getting paid. So whether you're a designer, a podcaster, maybe you're a health coach, life coach, business coach, an artist, you can be a brand strategist, a copywriter, a blogger, influencer, or a creative. It really doesn't matter your industry. If you provide a service, then you can benefit from using HoneyBook in your services to manage your client intake, your contracts, and your invoicing system. So I am all about HoneyBook right now. I've been looking at different software out there to see what would work best for me, and I have tried my hands at a few. There are some other really incredible options as well, but HoneyBook won me over because of their educator program, which is the affiliate program that I'm a part of now. And just their customer service is superb and their outreach, and they're just awesome to work with. So if you ever have any problems, they onboard you. They bring all of your files over. So if you have a lot of different files you've been using, such as, for example, I've been using JotForm for some of my contact forms. If you're any other contact forms you're using, they can bring that information over. If you're using invoicing from somewhere else, they can bring that over as well. Any contracts you're using from outside of HoneyBook, their concierge team will get you onboarded and get you ready to go. So I'm really appreciating their services. So I just have to plug HoneyBook. And if you would like to receive 50% off of your first year, your entire year of HoneyBook, I want you to use my affiliate link. And that is share.honeybook.com/herbusiness. Again, that's share.honeybook.com/herbusiness. All right. So that's all for my affiliate plug. I hope you enjoyed last week's interview with Josevi Jackson, CEO of Black Card Books. We talked about showing up authentically in your business. If you haven't had a chance to listen to that one, I recommend you go back, listen to the archives on episode number 25. Go back and watch it on my YouTube channel. You'll see that link in the show notes at herbusinesselevated.com. And also wanted to plug my coaching services for podcasting. So head on over to impactpodcastcoach.com to check out my podcasting services. I do offer coaching for those of you wanting to learn how to create your podcast A through Z, start to finish. I'm here for you. I've created 8 podcasts in my entire lifetime. I'm hosting and producing 4 currently. So I know what it means to run a podcast and how to show up regularly, offering the support that your listeners are looking for. So I'm here to help you to create your show. So you can visit me, impactpodcastcoach.com, and check out my coaching services there. If you're interested, just fill out the contact form and I'll be in touch with you with more information. I also wanted to share one more thing. One of my favorite podcasts. So I've been listening to a lot of business podcasts recently, and I just thought that I would share with you some of the ones that I've been enjoying outside of creating my own podcast. I love listening to other people's podcasts. So I've enjoyed Nisha Woolery. And I absolutely love her approach to business. So if you haven't checked her out, I recommend that you do. She is the epitome of calm and collected. And I love her framework and her mindset. And so she's been through a lot of things in business, and she's started more than one business and has really grown to where she is now with her podcast called The Simple Business Show. It's all about simplicity in business. And so I just really love listening to her. And one of her latest podcast episodes, she talked about how to do your own end of year review for your podcast, but actually for your life. So she's been sharing her reviews on her podcast, sharing really just about how her life has gone, the goals that she's been able to achieve and those that she hasn't. And she's been really transparent. So I thought that I might try to do the same thing. So don't hold me to it, but it's definitely an idea I have in the back of my head that perhaps by the end of December that I might have an end of year review of my own. So we'll see if that happens. And if it does, that'll be great because it will be something I can look back on every single year. But I just wanted to share that with you. And if you haven't checked her out, go to nishawoolery.com and see what she offers over at her blog and podcast. So we're going to talk about flexibility. Now, I think that successful entrepreneurs really understand that the world that they're living in, that we are living in, the environment that we're living in is constantly changing, and we have to be adaptable, right? While we're going to focus on the end game and see things from a distance, we also have to adapt our strategies and what we bring to the table in order to meet the changing market conditions. So we have to show up based on what's happening in the market at the time. And that is probably one of my biggest challenges in business because I like to do things the way I did them last year and the way I did them 5 years ago. When I think about my comfort level and what I'm used to doing, it is really, really old school, guys. Like I can go way back to when I first started blogging or when I started my homeschool blog in 2012. And I still think about some of the things that we did in the blogging sphere back then. And I still want to do those things sometimes, but I realize they're completely outdated and I can't continue to do those things. And today we all understand that with social media changing very quickly and all of our social media, including Pinterest and Facebook, Instagram and TikTok, everything is going towards more of the reels-based approach. And so that's been kind of a challenge for some of us entrepreneurs, not everybody, but some people are saying how it's just really difficult to adapt to that mindset because we've been used to things being a certain way for so long. Instagram didn't start off being a video or reels-based platform. And so we're just really wrapping our brains around what this means and why we're going in this direction. Even Pinterest has changed. So that's one of the things that we have to do is to transition. But I'm going to give you about 5 keys to being able to be flexible. And we've talked about why it pays to be flexible, but we're going to really talk about 5 keys to being flexible. So let's talk about some of the things that we need to do in order to remain flexible in our business. And the first thing is to show up daily with passion. So I just believe that if we're passionate about what we do, then we're going to find ways to bend to whatever we need to bend to in business in order to make things happen. If you're passionate, if you're showing up and you're happy about your business, you're excited about what you bring to the table, then being flexible and adaptable is not going to be a problem because you're so excited about what you do. So I think the first thing is having passion for what you offer, for your products, for your services. The second thing is persuasiveness. So as an entrepreneur, we have to be able to persuade. So it's an art. It's something that, some of us are more natural with than others. But I think when you have a business, you have to be able to persuade your listeners and your viewers, your audience, to choose what it is you're wanting to lead them toward. So, for example, I recently negotiated a brand deal because I was able to persuade the brand that what I offer and bring to the table is worthwhile for them to pay me the amount that I asked for. So the art of negotiation required some amount of flexibility on my end because they offered me a certain amount, I asked for another amount, and then we came to a conclusion that with an affiliate commission plus 95% of what I asked for, we would be able to come to an agreement. And I think having flexibility in your business and not being staunch on staying rigid on what you demand and not giving opportunity for new ideas could cause you to not be able to grow in your business. So it's important to negotiate, to be able to persuade, to convince a client or a potential customer to take a certain action, for example, like to make a sale on your website, to encourage your potential customer to choose one product over another. For example, let's say they're in your intake process and they have already filled out the questionnaire and they haven't signed anything yet, but you're on a discovery call and you're convincing them that what they actually need is not what they think they need. And so you're helping them to select the right product for them or the right coaching service for them. So that persuasiveness, whether it means they're going to end up paying more money or it's going to cost them more in time or commitment, it's your ability to persuade them. So that flexibility is super important in business. So you have to stay flexible as an entrepreneur in order to help encourage your customer and your client to be flexible as well. Number 3, thinking outside of the box. That is super important in business. We're not able to solve uncommon problems if we can't think creatively. So we have to look at things differently and not being defined by the status quo. So what does that look like for you in your situation? For me, it might look like the fact that the way I'm going about building my business is very, very different than anything I've ever seen anyone else do. So some of you know that I have recalibrated and relaunched my business or relaunched different aspects of my business as I added different products or different services, taken away some services because I've been feeling out my audience over this past year when I relaunched my consulting and coaching services. So when I relaunched in 2021, I came at the business with the idea that I was going to offer business coaching to women entrepreneurs. And that business coaching within that business coaching, there were a variety of things that I was offering. And there were so many coaching services on the table that I think it got a little bit muddled and maybe a little too broad. So I decided I had to kind of narrow that down for this season of my life so that I can be as laser focused as possible, which will attract exactly the kind of client that I want. Although I could serve a variety of clients in a variety of different ways, I've decided that I was going to focus more specifically on podcast coaching, but always with the idea that if there are other services or coaching that needs to be done, I can offer those things as well as an additional, package. But my main focus would be podcast coaching. So with that, I see kind of my journey has been very different. And I feel that it's because I don't pin myself down to one specific way of doing life or doing business. And I'm not afraid to think outside of the box or do things differently. I know some people are a little bit hesitant about starting a business because they feel like you have to start with a team. You have to have people helping you to do everything, especially if you are offering a service that needs some additional services that you're not capable of offering. So you might feel like you have to have a team of people to help you pull it off. For example, if you want to create a graphic design firm, you may not be able to do all the illustrations. You may not be able to do the web design aspect or the coding. So you might want to hire a coder, hire a content writer, and these different things. So that is one way of looking at business, is starting with the team so that you have each person focus on their individual expertise. However, this podcast started as a means to pour into the lives of solopreneurs, because I understood what it meant to really start your business by yourself and to work your way up, even to shoestring your way through if you needed to. Some people listening today are entrepreneurs who started by taking their paycheck from their 9 to 5 and taking a percentage of that check and investing it into their side gig, which they're building right now. So some of you guys are on that journey. And so you have to really be open to wherever you happen to be in life and just let God direct your steps so that you're not putting yourself in a box or feeling like if you don't build your business a certain way, that if you don't have all the help that you need, that your business is not going to be successful, because that's the furthest thing from the truth. You really, really can build your business with what you have in your hands right now, especially if it's an online virtual business. You can run it solo. Now with time, you'll want to scale, but for now, you can run it solo. So don't be afraid to think outside the box. That's part of being flexible as an entrepreneur. Number 4, strategic planning is really important, and long-term vision. So if you have a vision for your business where you want it to be within 5 years, where you want it to be in 1 year, you can strategically plan for that. But you have to be flexible, right? Things are going to happen in your business. Things will happen in life. So plan for some downtimes in your business. Plan for those weeks that maybe things are very, very quiet and you're not getting the customers that you thought you would. Plan for that. So when you do have a really big month and you had a nice income that month, go ahead and plan out how you're going to stretch that money for however long you feel like you can stretch it for, or what percentage you want to put in savings so that you're not, blowing all of it at once. So you don't want to have all of your money going back into the business. You want to have a percentage that you're saving back for yourself. But all of that is part of being flexible and having some planning for the future, for the good times and for the slow times. Once again, I'm mentioning Nisha Woolery's podcast because she talks about the slow times and she talks about all of the realities of being a solopreneur and being an online business owner that a lot of people just won't talk about. And so I highly recommend you listen to her as well. And I just think she's a wonderful person and a fellow podcaster that I admire. So that's why I bring her up twice already. Okay, number 5, making executive decisions. So you'll want to choose a website platform or a hosting service. Maybe you'll want to decide on your product or your service pricing points, maybe the packaging. You might want to narrow down your target market. Maybe you're trying to finalize which social media platforms you're going to spend most of your time on. All of that requires that you, the business owner, makes an executive decision. So you're flexible and you're able to pin down exactly what you need to do in order to make things happen. So those are my tips to help you think about flexibility, openness, thinking outside of the box as an entrepreneur. Now, if you've been spinning your wheels about your business, I'm going to give you another plug for something I've created for you. It's a free guide to help you to figure out the path of your calling in life and in business. And this is called the Business Clarity Guide. This is a workbook that I've created for you to download over at herbusinesselevated.com. You will find this on the front page, on the homepage, and it's called the Business Clarity Guide. This is a workbook that helps you go through a series of questions that will help you to narrow down what your focus should be in business. Because if you're anything like me, you're multi-passionate and you might have a lot of different things that you want to do. So of those many things, what can you pull out? What gems can you pull out of those many things so that you can focus on creating a business that is laser focused and strategic, and that's going to give you quicker results? We'll talk about your target market, your niche audience, and we'll talk about some of your business passions and things that you enjoy doing. All of that is in the Business Clarity Guide. So if you want a copy of that, go to herbusinesselevated.com and it is free for you. And that's all I have for you on this show. This podcast is all about helping you with your confidence, your identity, your business expansion and growth, motivation, leadership, money breakthroughs. We'll talk about all of that on this podcast all throughout the year. So I can't wait for 2023. We have a lot of topics on the horizon, but for now, I am just excited to come back next week and share more with you. So for the next couple of weeks, I don't have any additional interviews for you. It's just me and you guys. So I'm excited to talk to you about more encouragement to help you in your journey. That's all I have for now, and I will talk to you later. Have a wonderful week, and to your online business success.